All right, boys, back today with another tier list. Today, we're going to be ranking the UFC fighters with pillow hands, who has the least amount of power in the UFC, can't hurt a fly, can't fight their way out of a wet paper bag. You know what it is. Let's get right into it, starting off with, you know what? We're going right into it. The newly crowned champ, Merab. I'm putting Merab in the A tier. Merab, he has no power. He has one finish in the UFC by strikes, and that was against Marlon Moraes. And at that point, my grandma could have finished Marlon Moraes. Bro's chin was gone. Merab just doesn't have any power, doesn't have any submission, doesn't have anything aside some cardio. Merab is genuinely pisses me off because he's not that good, but he's good because he has amazing cardio. But what can I say? Merab definitely doesn't have knockout power. I'm not sure how many knockdowns he has in the UFC, but yeah, an abomination in his hands. Nothing. Just pillows. So, yeah, Merab in the A tier. Let's move on to another fighter with pillow hands. Ciryl Gane. I'm putting Ciryl Gane in the C tier. He is a heavyweight, so they will have some degree of power. But for a heavyweight, Ciryl Gane doesn't have pop. I know he's got some knockouts against Tai Tuivasa and Sergey Spivak, but, you know, typically he wears on opponents. He has to bust them up for a round or two, hit them with nonstop strikes as a heavyweight. And, yeah. Ciryl Gane, he might be one of the most accurate heavyweights, but he definitely does not have that much pop in his hands. You're not going to see him Tom Aspinall on anybody. So, Ciryl Gane in the C tier. I think that's perfectly fair. Let's move on to another fighter with pillow hands. Going Movsar Evloev. I'm putting Movsar in the B tier. Movsar, I'm not sure if I don't think he has any knockdowns in the UFC, but he's a decision maxer. He has 8 wins, 9 wins in the UFC, all decisions. No power in his hands. No, really nothing. I mean, he's not throwing any kind of power. He's just kind of throwing, and he's kind of there. I don't know. Look at Movsar. His fucking face pisses me off. He looks like he doesn't have power. Look at his face. He looks like he's not throwing no leather. Oh, man. The decision merchant himself in the B tier. No pop, nothing. Let's move on to another fighter with no power. Pillow hands, Paulo Costa. I'm putting Paulo Costa in the B tier as well. Now, the thing about Paulo Costa is it's tricky because he looks like he would have the most power ever. And, you know, he's gotten some knockouts, but historically speaking, he's hit fighters with bombs. He's hit Robert Whittaker. Bro has no hand or kick power because he hit Robert Whittaker with a flush head kick, and Whittaker still stands. And we know Whittaker doesn't have the best chin. Bro hit Marvin Vettori with 1,000,000 strikes whenever they fought. He couldn't finish Luke Rockhold with his hands. Even whenever he was fighting Yoel Romero, he dropped him once. But yeah, Paulo Costa, for his size and for the way he looks like he'd be Thanos. But it turns out he's just little pillow hands Paulo. So yeah, Paulo Costa in the B tier. I don't think anybody's going to argue with that. Moving right along. Colby Covington. I'm putting Colby Covington in the A tier. When's the last time Colby Covington got a knockdown? Can't even tell you. He fights to decision most times. Definitely has pillow hands. If you look at the thumbnail, I should have put Colby Covington in there. Bro is the poster board for pillow hands. I didn't want to put him in the thumbnail because he doesn't fight. We like active fighters in our thumbnails. So Colby Covington in the A tier. I don't think he got a single knockdown in either Usman fight. He didn't knock down Masvidal. He didn't knock down Leon Edwards, obviously. I mean, I can't even tell you the last time he knocked down somebody. Max Griffin in what? UFC 202? Literally ages ago? Like, Colby Covington, just pillow hands. Bro, imagine if Covington had power, he might be one of the greatest UFC fighters to ever live, but no threat in his hands. You got to go in the A tier, buddy. Let's move on to another fighter, Sean Strickland. You know what? Strickland in the B tier. Now, Strickland, I know he knocked down Adesanya recently when he won the belt, but let's not pretend like Strickland has power. Who else has he knocked down? Nobody. Bro, always talking about going to war for 5 rounds, and then he just throws teep kicks and jabs the whole fight to a 5th-round decision, 5-round decision. So Sean Strickland, no pop in his hands, no knockout power. He's just gonna. I mean, look at this sparring footage whenever he was sparred Sneeko. Bro literally hit Sneeko with all of his power. You could just see he was winging punches, and he couldn't drop Sneeko, a freaking streamer. Like, bro, if that don't tell you Sean Strickland doesn't have power, I don't know what does. Like, if Tom Aspinall hit Sneeko one time, bro was going to fly through the wall. But yeah, Sean Strickland in the B tier. Pillow hands. Let's move on. Arman Tsarukyan. I'm going to put him in the C tier, you know, just because he knocked out Beno Dariush cold. So I can't say Arman has complete pillow hands, but for a long time, Arman has been known to not have knockout power. I mean, who is this guy knocked out with his hands aside from Beneil Dariush? But great fighter. He does have good hands. He just doesn't have powerful hands. And I think he knocked out Beneil because Beneil's chin had already been softened up by Charles. But I think Arman Tsarukyan in the C tier, bro. Imagine if Arman knocked out Makhachev. That'd be like crazy because he's not known for his hand power. So yeah, Arman at the C tier. Let's move on to another fighter with absolutely no power. Bro, I gotta put Neil Magny in the S tier. Like, Neil Magny is one of the most underpowered punchers in UFC history. Like, dude, I feel like I can take shots off of Neil Magny and I'd be just fine. The Haitian sensation be bouncing around the octagon, hit me with some little pitter-patter shots, and I don't think it's doing much. I'm eating those, and I'm coming all day long. And I'll probably leg kick Neil Magny to a decision. No, I'm just kidding. We know Neil Magny would kick my ass, but one thing's for sure, he would knock me out because this dude has some of the softest hands ever known to man. So, Neil Magny, gotta put him in the S tier. I mean, there's no other way around it. Let's move on to another fighter with pillow hands. We're pulling out Balal Muhammad in the A tier. Now, we know I don't like Balal, that's no secret, but Balal has, one TKO in the UFC? Sean Brady? Could be two. But one recent TKO, Sean Brady, and even in his TKO against Sean Brady, bro hit Sean Brady with a 50-punch combination and still didn't knock him down. I'm pretty sure Balal doesn't have a single knockdown in the UFC. He is the definition of a pillow hand fighter. Like, I guarantee you I could last a round in the octagon against Balal if he didn't take me down and submit me. He's not knocking me out. He doesn't knock anybody out. Even whenever he finished Brady, he didn't knock him out. He TKO'd him just from hitting him 50 times with no defense. So yeah, Balal Muhammad might be the most non-dangerous champion right now. No finishing threat whatsoever. So he's definitely going in the A tier. Anywhere under it would be a disgrace. Let's move on to another pillow hands fighter. Aljamain Sterling. I'm putting Aljamain in the A tier. Listen, Aljamain Sterling, he doesn't have a single knockdown in the UFC. Who is Aljo knocked out? He's been knocked out by Marlon Moraes with a knee, but Aljo has no knockdowns with his hands. He's fast on the feet. He's tricky, but he doesn't have pop. No power. Bro's just swinging pillows all day. As I said about Balal, I feel like I can get in the octagon. I could stand up with Aljo in a kickboxing match, and I'm eating those shots. I'm making it to decision. I don't know what other way to put it. So Aljamain Sterling in the A tier, the Funk Master. He has funk, but he doesn't have power. Let's be real. And yeah, he's going A tier. Let's move on. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I'm putting him in the B tier. I remember he knocked out Johnny Hendricks with his hands back in the day, but historically speaking, Wonderboy does not have pop in his hands. He has really good kicks, and if he does knock you down with something, it's because you didn't see it coming. But Wonderboy doesn't have pop. He knocked out Johnny Hendricks with his hands, but outside of that, I couldn't tell you the last time Wonderboy knocked out somebody with his hands. It's been a long time, and he's on a bit of a downfall in the UFC right now. Respect to Wonderboy, one of the best strikers to ever grace the UFC, but let's be real, bro does not have no pop in his hands. If he knocks somebody out, it's most likely going to be with a kick. So, yeah, I got to throw him in the B tier. Let's move on to another fighter with pillow hands, Marvin Vettori. I'll put Marvin in the C tier. I think he's got a couple knockdowns in the UFC. And yeah, mediocre Marvin, he's known to just go into the octagon and stick to the same game plan for 5 rounds straight without changing a single thing while getting busted up. But yeah, he doesn't have much pop. I don't think he surely has a couple knockdowns in the UFC. I might have to move him up to B tier, but no, I have other fighters for B tier. So yeah, Marvin Vettori in the C tier. He probably could have more power if he would just sit down on his shots, but he doesn't, so got to have him in the C tier. Also, honorable mention, a lot of people are going to say, include Max Holloway in this list, and I would, but Maximus Holloway has power, and he's sitting down on his shots, and he's knocking out Korean Zombie, and he's knocking out Justin Gaethje. But he did hit Calvin Kattar with like a record amount of strikes and didn't even put him out, so who knows. Not going to include him in this tier list. Let's move on to another fighter with pillow hands, Gamrot. I'm putting Gamrot in the A tier. Yeah, I'm putting Gamrot in the A tier. Gamrot, no power whatsoever. And he's also supposed to be known as like a submission guy, but who has he submitted? But that's not the point of this video. Gamrot, Scamrot, whatever you want to call him, he definitely is not sitting on no power. I don't think he has a single knockdown in the UFC. He might, but he has decent striking. His striking's underrated, I feel, but man, no pop in his hands. Bro is swinging leather coats all day, but not throwing any leather, if you know what I'm saying. Gamrot definitely does not have power. So, yeah, he got to go in the A tier, buddy. Let's move on. Sean Brady, I'm throwing in the A tier. I mean, A tier, in the B tier. Sean Brady, the man who got knocked out by Balal Muhammad, that's going to be pretty embarrassing. Man, y'all remember Sean Brady got offended because people were saying he got fraud checked by Balal Muhammad. Like, bro's like, how can I get fraud checked? He's literally the champion. Anyways, Sean Brady definitely does not have power in his hands. If you're fighting Sean Brady, you need to worry about a submission, but you can just swing haymakers on the feet, and I think you'll be perfectly safe. Bro's not knocking out a fly. I mean, I don't know what else to say. So, yeah, he's going straight into the B tier, straight to DVD with his hands. You know what it is. Moving on, we got Pillow Hands Jack, the Joker Hermanson. Bro, Jack Hermanson, whenever he fought Joe Pyfer, he busted him up, but Jack Hermanson has no fucking power in his hands, dude. Oh, man. It's like watching like a toddler swing like a feather at you and hit you in the face, pretty much. Like Jack Hermanson, he's not a threat on the feet, man. Like he'll bust you up with a jab for 5 rounds and box your face off, but you're not gonna have to worry about being knocked down or KO'd. You're good. Like if I'm in octagon with Jack Hermanson, I'm lasting to the decision. Probably not though. He'll probably take me down and submit me immediately. But you get the point. Bro's not swinging no leather. He's swinging pillows, and that's my point of this video. And last but not least, the GOAT of pillow hands, probably more pillow-handed than Neil Magny just because he's smaller. Like, this guy is pillow hands. Dominic Cruz. Dominic Cruz has some of the softest hands in UFC history. I notoriously call him the decisionator because he fights the decision. Because, man, imagine if Dominic Cruz had power. He'd be like, he'd be the bantamweight GOAT and probably still be champion at 38 years old, 39 years old. No, he probably would. But Dominic Cruz, no power in his hands. Even the knockout against Takeya Mizugaki back in the day, bro, he had to hit Takeya Mizugaki with like fucking 200 shots on the ground just to put him out. Like, it was, I don't know what else to say. He busted up Cody Garbrandt. I know a lot of people think Garbrandt dominated him, but he was a 48-46, but he didn't have no pop in his hands. Garbrandt was able to drop him. Dominic Cruz can't hurt a fly, can't punch his way out of a wet paper bag. The decisionator, he's been figured out. He's almost 40 years old, Dominic. I don't think your power's gone, buddy, because it never was there. So go ahead and retire. Stick to the commentating desk. No, I'm just kidding. Dominic Cruz is a solid guy. But this is the list. Pillow hand fighters in the UFC. Let me know if anyone else you would include besides Max Holloway, because I mentioned him. Let me know if you would include anyone else in the video. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.